Once again, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and esteemed panelists. Thanks to Business World and its partners for putting the spotlight on leading with purpose towards empowerment. This panel discussion is indeed impeccably timed, coinciding with the culmination of India's G20 presidency. Indeed, a pivotal moment for us on the global stage, with the eyes of the world trained on us, on India and its leadership. In this age, we often find ourselves amidst a new world order, a population of 8 billion strong. We became 8 billion last year, and offering an abundance of resources. And in our efforts to lead, stay close to profit margins and organizational growth, we tend to lose why we do what we do. Purpose and empowerment stay as tokenistic or symbolic endeavors, sadly, rather than being ingrained in the business strategy. So what do we really mean by purpose and empowerment? Simply put, it prioritizes aligning leaders' actions with a meaningful purpose, transcending traditional notions of control. And in the current landscape of rapid and intricate change, this leadership style emerges as a beacon of effectiveness, particularly when compared to traditional top-down approaches. Having said that, today we are here to discuss, learn, and may I also say unlearn, how purpose-driven leadership can catalyze positive change within our organizations, fostering empowerment and inclusivity. Hence, it gives me immense pleasure to introduce the distinguished panel of experts who bring forth diversity and will help us unpack the different facets of their leadership style. So, please welcome Mr. Amitabh Shah. He's the founder and chief information officer, Yuva Unstoppable. And he's the youngest Indian to win the US government's Ellis Island Award, given previously to President Bill Clinton, George Bush, boxer Muhammad Ali, Indra Nooyi, Malala Yousafzai, and other legends. We also have today Ms. Aishwarya Dua. She's the founder and chief executive officer, Sassiest. And it's a pioneering sexual health and pleasure brand exclusively designed for women and backed by medical professionals. Ms. Deepika Narayan Bhardwaj, she's an Indian journalist, documentary filmmaker, and a social activist. She's the recipient of many awards, one being Swami Vivekananda Yuva Samman Award. And interestingly, in times when everyone's emphatically talking about women's rights, Deepika makes a strong case for protection of rights of men too. Ms. Smita Roy, she's the co-founder and managing trustee Peepal Tree Foundation. And she is enthusiastic about making a difference in the lives of the less fortunate children and women from disadvantaged areas. Smita has devoted 20 years of her life towards project empowering women and teaching them to be self-reliant. Welcome, Smita. Mr. Sarvesh Mishra, spokesperson Aadmi Party. He's a dedicated for social change, and he, of course, serves as the spokesperson for R. In addition to managing the parliamentary affairs of Rajya Sabha member Sanjay Singh, he's also passionate about uplifting unprivileged children. And finally, Mr. Arjun Mishra is the co-founder NABET India. He is a dedicated advocate for social inclusion and employment opportunities for differently abled and undeserved communities. With over 13 years of relentless commitment, co-founded NABET India, and it's a prominent NGO that has revolutionized the landscape of disability and underserved community. So extremely thankful to have such a diverse panelist today. And with this, I would like to, straight away go to the panel discussion. And my first question is, in fact, posed to all the panelists out here. So if I may ask, and just to be mindful, some house rules, it's a tight panel discussion and I've got all of you amazing speakers. So may I request that the answers be short so that we get enough time towards the end to even have Q&A with our participants and the audiences today. So yes, let me begin with a very generic question. What does purpose and leadership mean for you as an individual, as a leader? And why do you think it's so critical? That's part one. And secondly, also, it would be really helpful to me, and I'm sure for everybody out here, if you could also give examples of organizations or leaders that you feel have excelled due to a clear purpose. Anybody, please.
I can take that first. Thank you, Pinky, for that. I think आप सबने हमारे लिए तालियां बजाई थी. We should also have a round of applause for Pinky for facilitating and coordinating so nicely. So talking about purpose and leadership, the first question. A lot of times, all of us in the social sector have been asked to think that we are supposed to be Robin Hood, take money from the rich and give to the poor. Right? And हम अगर बच्चों की या जो भी सेवा कर रहे हैं जिसकी भी has to be from the less privileged background. Over the last 20 years in Yuva and Stoppable, we've transformed 5,000 schools with sanitation, technology, solar, water harvesting. And recently, my purpose kind of became, and the leadership became a little more clearer, where I thought that I'm supposed to do seva not just for the kids, but of everyone I meet. Be it a billionaire, be it a CEO, be it a politician, be it a teacher, be it a principal, be it this wonderful audience, and the children. So can seva go beyond just serving the less privileged, and you become a force of seva where whoever you meet, maybe you give a kind word, you speak sweetly, you advise them on something good, you give them some positive thoughts, maybe help with your time, talent, or treasure. So can you kind of continue to give seva to everyone you meet, everywhere you go? Be it the CEO, or be it the janitor, or be it the security guard who's receiving us, and not just thinking the traditional way that, I need to collect from the rich and give to the poor. And a second answer for that as well is what I've seen a lot in leadership, especially in the social world, is that people are doing a lot of fundraising these days. कि मैं मेरा cause बहुत अच्छा है, मैं animals के लिए कर रहा हूँ, पैसा दो, मैं blood donation के लिए कर रहा हूँ, पैसा दो, मैं schools के लिए कर रहा हूँ, पैसा दो, या मेरा business idea बहुत अच्छा है, startup बहुत अच्छा है, उसमें पैसा दो. But we need to change towards friend raising and not fundraising. We need to look at people as people and make friends with them and add value in whatever way we can to whoever the person we are interacting with, and not see it as a transaction. And I think that's a very important part of leadership that you mentioned. And the last part of the question was, who's one role model that I have? It's absolutely Abdul Kalam. He used to come to our NGO, UNFPA Unstoppable, many times and keep guiding us on different initiatives. But एक बार मैंने जाके उनको पूछा कि सर देश बदलना है, कैसे बदल सकते हैं? तो I thought he'll say infrastructure improve करो, health improve करो, education improve करो. But he said, Amitabh, घर जाके तेरी माँ को smile करा. मैंने बोला मेरी माँ smile करेगी तो देश कैसे बदलेगा? He said, if a mother smiles first, who will smile? I said, well, obviously my father. If your parents are smiling, I said, me and my brother. If the family is smiling, the society and the city and the country. So every year we would make thousands of students write down stories of how they made their mother smile. किसी ने बोला मम्मी के पैर दबाए, ढोकला बनाया, बहुत खराब था पर वो खा गई, पिगी बैंक तोड़ के मैं ड्रेस लाया, वो 2 साइज बड़ी थी पर मॉम said I'm going to keep it. मैंने कविता लिखी, and Kalam would come twice a year and spend time with the best 50 stories and moms. So I think the best role models are people who have kept things simple, and he was one of them, and he amplified that. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Hi everyone. So my idea about transformation, or what is leadership by purpose, is to question the status norm, the status quo. So I work for persons with disabilities, and I've been working in this space for the last 13 years. And the first thing which comes when an NGO approaches, working in the disability sector, approaches a corporate, they feel we come asking for charity. And that I feel is, maybe demeaning to the cause. We come here because we ask for an opportunity of employment, because we consider our beneficiaries who we serve competent. When we provide services that are proficient, I don't think we need charity, we need an opportunity. And then when the status shifts from a charity first to an opportunity first, I think that's where it's about redefining how do you see disability. And that's where the NGO is unique. So whilst we worked for many years, over the last 13 years, we worked for people with disabilities. What I've come to understand is it's never the disability which is the challenge. It's the way, the prism to which we see it, which needs to be redefined. And a leader who I envision and envy a lot is Mr. Tata. So when he, what he did was he put himself at risk. He tried things, he experimented with ideas, they failed at times, and that's fine. There won't be any leader who will always be successful. There will be some who may have some failures. The question is not whether you were successful or not. It's about, could you experiment with an idea? Did you have the boldness and the leadership to try it? And eventually, even if it's failed, you attempted and you made a very strong attempt to it. That's what I define as purposeful leadership. Thanks.
Pinky, for me, leadership with purpose is all about having one cause that is very close to your heart and ensuring each and every single day of your life to work towards that cause. Unless you have a purpose and a cause that you are willing to sacrifice your life for, I think neither can you be a leader nor you can create the leadership that's required to inspire people. Especially in the space that I operate, it's a very, very tough space because not many people think that men also need some kind of empowerment. Men also need some person to fight for them. And the role model for me are my parents. बहुत सारे लोगों ने सुना होगा कि सब लोग ये सोचते हैं कि पड़ोस वाले घर से एक्टिविस्ट निकल जाए, पड़ोस वाले घर से कोई ऐसा निकल जाए जो लड़ाई लड़े समाज के लिए. बट बहुत कम लोग होते हैं जो अपने घर से एक एक्टिविस्ट को एक्सेप्ट करते हैं. सो माई रोल मॉडल्स आर माई पेरेंट्स हु हैव अलाउड मी टू एक्चुअली वर्क इन दिस स्पेस and actually struggling a lot and seeing my challenges every single day and still asking me to go ahead. Thank you.
पॉलिटिकल लोगों को ऐसे आंसर देना थोड़ा अलग सा हो जाता है. मैं इस देश के एक सबसे तेज़ी से बढ़ते हुए पॉलिटिकल स्टार्टअप से हूँ, आम आदमी पार्टी से, जिसने 10 साल में ही इस देश की एक नेशनल पार्टी बन गए. हम जैसे तमाम लोग जो गांव में रहते थे, शहरों में पढ़ने को आए थे और बिना किसी तैयारी के पॉलिटिक्स में आ गए और उनको काफ़ी अच्छी जगह दी. आम आदमी पार्टी जैसे बात 2 क्वेश्चंस की उन्होंने, पर्पस की. पहला मैं पर्पस क्या बताता हूँ. मैं यूपीएससी की तैयारी करता था, तमाम हमारे साथ लोग मुखर्जी नगर में करते थे. हम लोगों का एक पर्पस था, एक करप्शन फ्री इंडिया का, एक अच्छी गवर्नेंस का, एक अच्छा डिलीवर करने का. जैसे मैं गांव से आता हूँ, वहाँ अच्छी एजुकेशन नहीं थी, स्कूल्स नहीं थे, उनको लाने का. तो आम आदमी पार्टी में हमें एक पर्पस मिला और उस पर्पस हमारे पर्पस से मैच करता था. तो मेरे जैसे तमाम लड़के थे जो यूपी, बिहार, तमाम दूसरे स्टेट्स के, जिनका पर्पस मैच हुआ और वो आ गए. और हमने बाद में रिज़ल्ट भी देखा कि आम आदमी पार्टी का एक कॉन्सेप्ट था स्मार्ट गवर्नमेंट्स का. स्मार्ट गवर्नमेंट को मैं डिफ़ाइन करूँगा तो एक ऐसे ही सिंपल, मोरल, अकाउंटेबल, रिस्पॉन्सिबल एंड ट्रांसपेरेंट गवर्नमेंट का. हम लोगों ने समय के साथ देखा, स्कूल टाइम से आए, हमारे जो लीडर्स का विज़न था, उनका जो पर्पस था वो क्लियर था. और आज सक्सेसफुली हम देखते भी हैं कि पॉलिटिक्स के सेंटर में जिन चीज़ों को हम अपने स्कूल टाइम पे, कॉलेज टाइम पे चाहते थे कि पॉलिटिक्स के रूट में जो सेंटर है उसमें एजुकेशन, हेल्थ, बिजली, पानी, बेसिक एमिनिटीज़ हों. पहले हम लोग किताबों में पढ़ते थे, यूपीएससी के लिए तैयारी करते थे. एक अच्छा सौभाग्य मिला हम लोग को अपने कुछ ही समय में कि हम जब राजनीति में आए तो हम इसी पॉलिटिकल स्टार्टअप में इन्हीं सब चीज़ों पे हम वोट मांगने लगे और दूसरे स्टेट्स में भी गए और लोगों ने हमें सराहा. और आज पूरे देश में हम अपने मामलों पे ही आगे आते हैं. दूसरी एक चीज़ मैं आपको बताता हूँ कि तमाम बार हम लोग अपने रोल मॉडल्स और उन पे जाते हैं. अभी तक जैसे मैं आया, मैंने तमाम जगहों पे तमाम चीज़ों से सीखी. एक आपको इंसिडेंट का जिक्र कर रहा हूँ. 2012 या 13 का समय था. किरण बेदी मैम का एक प्रोग्राम यूपी के ललितपुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में होने वाला था. एक पब्लिक अवेयरनेस कैंपेन था जो जन लोकपाल को लेके था. तो मैं मनीष सिसोदिया सर के साथ गया था. उनसे मैंने पूछा, उस समय हम लोग काफ़ी जोश में रहते थे, लगता था कि बस कल देश बदल जाएगा, 1 महीने में ये कानून आ जाएगा और देश बदल जाएगा, फिर हम अपने कॉलेज को लौट जाएंगे, फिर पढ़ाइयाँ करने लगेंगे. तो उनसे बात हुई, होटल में वो तैयार होते, हमने कहा कि बस कितने दिन में ये सब कुछ हो जाएगा, जल लोकपाल आ जाएगा, सब चेंजेस आ जाएंगे, क्योंकि हमें अपने कॉलेज की पढ़ाई स्टार्ट करनी है, बीच में काफ़ी मिस हो रही है। तो उन्होंने कहा था कि देखो, अगर तुम्हें यूपीएससी अगर क्लियर है कि तुम्हें उधर जाना है तो तुम जाओ, क्योंकि मुझे लगता है कि ये लड़ाई 20 साल चलेगी, और अगर तुम 20 साल के लिए तैयार हो तो यहाँ पे आओ। उस समय मैं ग्रेजुएशन में था। ऐसे ढेर सारे लोगों ने समय समय पे रास्ता दिखाया है। जिन नेता के साथ, संजय सिंह जी के साथ रहता हूँ, उन्होंने भी दिखाया है। वो भी एक अलग बैकग्राउंड से हैं। उनके एक भाई अमेरिका में और दूसरी तरीके की फैमिली रहती है, और एक वो बड़े हैं, वो सीधे आंदोलन, क्रांति और इस तरीके
Sorry.
के फील्ड में रहते हैं।
Sarvesh, I'm running a tight panel.
तो ये
So,
मेरे हाँ, तो दूसरे ये चीज़ों का ये दूसरा जवाब था कि हमारे लाइफ में रोल मॉडल्स ऐसे ही छोटे छोटे इंसिडेंट्स रहे हैं, और जो लोग रहे हैं जो समय समय पे हमें सिखाते रहते हैं।
Thank you so much. Yeah, on to you.
I will agree with Sarvesh ji on this. There is not one single human being who has impacted. I'm a social entrepreneur, and I pick up. I'll do it quickly because he's eaten on my time. So I have. I will.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I'm the Safai Karmachari in just a better clothing. I pick up waste from garment factories, textile waste basically, from garment factories and boutiques, and I convert the waste into beautiful products like cushion covers, bed runners, table mats, pouches, travel pouches, etc. And all these products are stitched by less privileged women in different slums across Delhi NCR. Now we train the women first, and then we provide them with the fabric and raw material, everything, and then they start stitching. I started selling off with Amazon, through Amazon, and then Amazon ka wo margin issues, then I was not able to see much money. Then I started selling it through my own website, and now we are a beautiful, sustainable business. So it's a social business. Now 100% of the profit, I have started a small school for less privileged children inside Asiad Village. Everybody knows Asiad Village from Delhi. It's a very nice, beautiful society, wherein there was a very, there was a very bad area, no man's land, very dirty. It was under MCD, and itna gandagi tha. So once I was complaining, so that land was given to me. And now if you come to the school, you will never say it was, it was a kuredan. Actually, it was such a bad place. I have a small school of 60 children right now, and 100% of the money that I make in my social business is, going towards developing the children. We teach a lot of things to the children, including taekwondo and everything. The biggest success story is, so coming to the question, who's inspiring? Everybody's inspiring. My women in my different slums, they're inspiring every day. When I look at their lives and the hardships that they face every day, and still they push and go forward, is something puts me in awe. I'm like, I mean, there is no way I can complain. If they can do it, I mean, everybody should be able to do it. And kids, the children, itne chote se cheezon mein, they are so happy. They teach me every day. They inspire me every day to be happy, irrespective of, how small things come to you and whatever big things, so it doesn't make a difference, doesn't matter, just be happy. So the beneficiaries that I work with, they are the inspiration every day. And this was the question, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
totally. Thank you so much. On to you, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Aishwarya, founder of Sassiest. Thank you for having me here today. So leading with purpose, I guess it's all about life. Purpose ज़िंदगी से आता है, और हम जिस तरफ जा रहे हैं, हमारा तो सिर्फ एक ही पर्पस है सैसियस्ट का। वो सिर्फ इतना है कि हर औरत जो हमारे कंपनी में या जो मेरे पास आती है, वो एक स्माइल करके चली जाए, बस उससे सब सॉल्व हो जाता है। दूसरा, अगर आप बात करेंगे लीडिंग विद पर्पस का महत्व क्या है, तो वो सिंपल यही है कि जब आप ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के साथ में काम करते हैं, अपनी कंपनी के अंदर या किसी के भी साथ, आज मैं यहाँ पे भी हूँ, तो आई गेस वी आर टुगेदर, वी आर सिटिंग टुगेदर, दैट टुगेदरनेस द पर्पस कैन ब्रिंग, इट्स ऑल अबाउट दैट. And I guess I'll take a very recent example of a success story and the brand that I admire a lot when it comes to this. They were on their vision, and that's why they're here, and that is Blinkit, right? And from Grofers to Blinkit to what they wanted to be as a mini Amazon, and they are doing that. And I guess that's what the thing, and we all should be like doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Very interesting. Purpose could be something which is defying social norms, which is pushing you out of your comfort zone. And it could also be something which you follow your parents, like, their footsteps, and you define your purpose. So thank you so much. Very interesting. I have all the leaders here. But let me also ask you that, what about the team? how do you ensure that the team understands your passion, your purpose, and your leadership? And I want to put this question over to three panelists, Arjun, Amitabh, and Smita. So, because often in organizations, the leaders, they believe in the dreams, but when the team is not functioning fully, there's like some sort of legatus, right? So how do you deal with this?
Sure, okay. I can go first. So, Yuva Unstoppable, I started almost 20 years ago, जब मेरे full set of hair थे. 20 साल, और मैं 20 साल का था तब. और मेरे साथ जो youngsters जुड़े हुए थे वो 14 साल के, 13 साल के, 12 साल के थे. And the idea was simple that we'll go to orphanage, municipal schools, Vridhashram and spend 2 hours a time in a week with them teaching math, science, dance, music, English in the schools or spending time with the elderly. That is how we started. Now, almost 50 of those people, Pinky, they decided that this is all we'll do for the rest of our life. Till every child gets education and health, हम लोगों को बस सेवा ही करनी है. I think what is most important is that there should be people with good intentions, right? We call it cool, courageous and compassionate in today's level. जो बातें करेंगे आज के youngsters उसमें, अगर ये 3 qualities है तो technical skills, all these things can be taught. And so now one of those guys was 14, 12, 13. They are CEO, CFO, CTO, CMO in my NGO. And now we mobilized more than 500 crores in just the last few years across India. So, and some of the best people are coming and working with us. The reason why the team was able to do this, or the vision translated down, was very simple, is because we have started looking at क्या ये बंदा 10 करोड़ का चंदा लाएगा मेरे लिए अगर मैं इसको हायर करूँ तो, इतने 25 इवेंट करेगा अगर मैं हायर करूँ तो मेरे वहाँ पे. Instead, we need to see, is he a good human being? Is he passionate? Does he have his heart in the right place? बाकी सब technically हम सिखा सकते हैं, and we have experienced that.
What about pay package? It's very important.
So, no, it's a very good question, and I've never said this publicly, but I'll say here now after 20 years. So all of you will be surprised that I don't draw a salary from Yuva. And practically, I don't personally have a bank account. But I'm from a privileged family, and my wife earns. So she gives me a credit card. The only time I use it when I go to some temple to make a donation. But मेरी ज़रूरतें कम तो वजूद में दम. I think there is always enough money to take care of your needs. But greed का तो कोई अंत ही नहीं है. So I think you have to figure out what gives you the most joy. What kind of people are you going to enjoy being around? What kind of impact you are creating? If you're a part of a large thing where you are a small piece in the cog and your salary is higher, versus you are in some place where you are on ground, implementing at scale, you need to decide what gives you more joy. So I don't think that people are only looking at money anymore in the social sector. And I went to Yale for my MBA and declined a Wall Street offer with JP Morgan 15 years ago of $500,000 to come back and work on the real streets. And I think there's many, many thousands of people like that in India now who are looking for cause, purpose, and who they are working with. क्योंकि वो संघ का रंग लगता है.
True. Thank you so much. So Smita and Arjun, just one quick question over that. Do you agree with Amitabh's statement that intention is the most important factor in terms of having a team?
Yeah, but I also believe in show me the money, honey. So if I was not able to make money, if I wasn't an entrepreneur, and if I had to beg all the times, going from one organization to the other to sustain my school or whatever, I wouldn't like it. That wouldn't be dignity, I think money brings dignity if you can earn your own and you can sustain it. Of course, if I have additional help, if I can get fund, then I can start up more schools like this. That's another thing. Probably if with partnership, with associations, I can do more. But I think to become sustainable, to earn to earn it on your own is also very, very important. I think I have dignity in my home because I'm a business person, and there are paychecks coming in also, there are deposits coming in. I think it's very important.
So could you share like 1 or 2 tips with our audience today on how you can align your team with a marketing vision?
Sure.
Or a charity vision?
Okay, so I think we have to walk the talk. We have to live it. When my team sees me, constantly when we have meetings, am I able to convey my thought process, my thought to them? They need to understand what the vision is. Salary definitely will be credited at the end of the month to their accounts, to their bank account. But are they in line with my thought? Are they also? Nobody has equal share, fire in the belly. That is not possible. I mean, जिस तरह से हमने शुरू किया था, I started with no money, nobody, no crime, not even, I couldn't even speak Hindi well when I came to Delhi 5 years ago. But because that fire in the belly, I don't expect in anybody. But at least, are they going to deliver what my vision is, what my thought process? That is enough, more than enough. So
Thanks.
I think that's
Thanks.
it.
How about you, Arjun?
So, Pinky, I played with a very different set of problems. For the first 5 years when we started operations, I used to go on down approaching companies and telling them that, I have a superlative talent pool. I have people with disabilities, but they will perform as proficiently as your resources. And let data speak. Let the performance speak, and let that be the deciding factor whether or not you should outsource. And after rounds and rounds of discussion, what used to come out used to be that, can we write you a charity check? And I used to feel so dissuaded that I've made all that efforts and so many follow-ups, and after spending so much effort, if I felt that perhaps the commitment to the cause was questioned, perhaps I felt it was questioning the dignity or the abilities of the people who we were serving, which I was not up to. So for the first 5 years, I had checks which were being handed down, and I refused them every time because I felt it's it's something which is it's downward spiraling. It will start from the first check, and that's where the end. And then what will happen is that the mission would get questioned overall. The first 5 years I declined. The second thing around how can you build a team? Around that, you have to be very communicative. That's one. You have to have your ears to the ground. Any troublemaker you see in the organization, pinpoint, and you don't need to act on him yourself. The collective, the people who are part of the team, they may not have positions, they may not have any tags, managers, vice president, whatnot. They are connected to the cause, they understand what you stand for and why you've entered this. And because you're so committed to it, they would be the so-called khabris. They'll let you know what is happening inside the organizations. They'll give you instances of what's wrong. And what will happen is that you have to wait because yes, they can have, their own selfish interests, and that's common. But you have to, pinpoint the first instance you find somebody who is divergent to the culture of the organization, howl up, take him to task, and remove that problem. The sooner you do it, the more you stand to save the future of the organization. Because if you compromise once, I bet on this, they're going to have more instances like this following up soon. So any person, be very sure on how you're hiring the right talent. Be very sure of that one person does not align with the cause. And as soon as you, and the last thing which I think is very important, it seems easy, do not diverge from what you stood for at the very beginning. Because you do that once, that message would precipitate across the organization, and the first thing they'll do is they'll question your commitment. They may not speak it to your face, but they'll start the whispers and eventually come to hear it. So be very clear what you stand for, have that communicated, and let the whole organization align to it. And somebody does not fit the bill, take corrective action as soon as possible.
Thank you so much. So how would you suggest doing that? Town hall meetings, regular, email communication? How does a top-down messaging, happen?
So how I personally do that is that, number one, I keep my phone lines open and I keep meeting my people regularly. And I do not believe in, authority or supremacy and all those virtues. I'm perhaps the chief servant of the people who I serve. And I take that tag with a lot of respect and a lot of duty, which that tag brings to me. And the second thing is that I'm okay with people, making mistakes. That is fine. But if I find that the intent to which that mistake happened is questionable, then I feel that's not something which can be pardoned. Be very strict on this. If the intent or the actions are somewhere divergent to what the organization stands for, that's not tolerable.
Thank you so much. Quite thought-provoking and very interesting. I now move on to Deepika and Aishwarya. Both of you are treading on tough terrains, may I put it that way. Of course, you as a filmmaker, you are trying to focus on men's rights, right? And you are breaking the norms by focusing on women pleasure. So while you wanted to stay committed to your purpose, there may have been tough decisions that you had to take, which was very close to your purpose, but it was extremely challenging for you. So would you mind sharing with our audience today, any such experience that you have had?
Pinky, I think my work in itself is the biggest challenge. I remember when I started way back in 2012, and that the first thing that I began was to make a documentary on false dowry cases. A lot of people don't know it, but I used to work with Exchange for Media, and Mr. Batra used to be my super boss. And I told him, sir, I'll come back after making this documentary and rejoin the organization. And he said, please go ahead. But when I started making the documentary, I realized that getting money for something to do with men's rights is extremely, extremely important. So I heard Arjun in the beginning on getting the money from here and paying it to the poor. Like, for us, there is just no money, For the last 12 years, there is just no money because this is not a cause that people even think that it is a cause. So I think my biggest challenge has been to survive financially. But the tough decision that I have taken, and to very quickly sum it up, is that this is something which matters. I say it often that for a healthy society, we need to have men and women as people who complement each other and who not compete each other to destroy each other. And right now, unfortunately, in this zest of competition, people are not hesitating to actually destroy each other for their own vengeance, revenge, extortion. I don't want to get too much deep into my work, but there are just very, very horrible stories that are happening with men that are not told. In 2012, when I decided to make this documentary on false dowry cases, there was no film made, there was no documentary made, there was no full-fledged news report that would focus on this problem, which had impacted thousands of people. So the biggest challenge was to raise a voice, stand for it, no matter if people call me woman hater, no matter if people call me misogynist, no matter what people call me and judge me as, I know that I'm doing work which is extremely important and something which is to do with social justice and encouraging people to have a life which is meaningful and with dignity. It can be a woman and it can be a man as well. So my biggest challenge is to break the stereotype that if it is a man, he can never be a victim. So that's what I deal with every single day. Thank you.
Is it working? Yes. Anyways, firstly, Deepika, I'm inspired by your story that you just shared. I guess we need women like these and everyone who is sitting over here today. I deal with women every day, and what I have understood so far that, okay, so sexual health or sexual wellness as a topic is very male-centric in India, and let's accept that fact, first of all. When it comes to women, we have always been like, okay, you have to look a certain way, be a certain way. This is what it is. They have been a passive partners into the relationship. And I guess that's where we need to change it, and it's okay. When Gen Z is coming, Alpha is coming, they are into the internet, you can't hide. And we being as parents, though I am a parent of dogs, but then still. It's like we being parents in this age, like millennials, we will change the norms, we will break them, and we will create new rules that probably will be better for the generation coming in, where sex education will not look like, oh, मैं इससे अपने बच्चे से बात कैसे करूं? It will look like, yes, it will be a round table conversation, it will be a dining table conversation. Yes, I am having sex, can you please guide me, help me, or if I should not have. And if that conversation happens, I guess one family at a time, if we do, that we are doing every day, the world will change.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was quite interesting to hear both your personal experience. I would now like to turn over to Sarvesh. I think during the course we heard about how important trust empowerment in different contexts, whether trust to the leadership, trust to the brand, trust to the purpose, and empowerment as an individual, etc. So, according to you, how do they correlate in a purpose-driven leadership? And also, what strategies do you recommend for building trust within teams? We have seen the phenomenal growth of your party. So what are those ingredients that all of us out here can also learn, in our own domains?
मैं इसको एक और उदाहरण के एक एग्जांपल से समझाऊंगा। मुझे लगता है कि सरकारें नीयत और काबिलियत से चलती हैं। अभी सब लोगों ने शार्क टैंक के वो प्रोग्राम्स देखे होंगे और काफ़ी यूथ भी गांव से लेके शहर तक का देखता है और ढेर सारे आइडियाज स्टार्टअप्स के नए बिजनेस के देख के लोगों को बहुत अच्छा लगा कि इतना सब कुछ देश में चल रहा है, इतना इनोवेटिव है, बहुत कम बजट में है, सब तरफ लगा, लोगों को अच्छा लगा। दिल्ली सरकार ने एक बिजनेस ब्लास्टर्स प्रोग्राम चलाया था। अब मैं आज की सभी पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज़ को ये कहता हूँ कि जितनी पार्टीज़ हैं, गवर्नमेंट्स हैं, उनको वो ट्रेडिशनल तरीके छोड़ के नए नए चीज़ों पे आना पड़ेगा। हमारी सरकार ने एक बिजनेस ब्लास्टर प्रोग्राम चलाया। आप यूट्यूब पे उसके ढेर सारे प्रोग्राम्स देख सकते हैं। सभी नेशनल टेलीविज़न के जितने चैनल्स हैं सब पे ब्रॉडकास्ट भी हुआ, जिसमें हमने सरकारी स्कूल के बच्चों पे भरोसा किया और ये कहा कि अगर आपके पास कोई आइडिया है जिससे आप कोई बिजनेस कर सकते हो तो एक फ़ंड है हमारा, हम छोटा अमाउंट आपको देंगे, आप उससे अपने आइडिया पे काम करके लाओ। अगर वो आइडिया अच्छा होगा तो हम आपको और फंड करेंगे। जैसे शार्क टैंक में आपने देखा होगा, शार्क टैंक में लोग खुद लाते हैं, यहाँ पे सरकार ने खुद कहा। इससे दिल्ली के ढेर सारे वो 12वीं क्लास से छोटे बच्चों ने कई चीज़ें लेकर आए कि हमारे पास ये बिजनेस का आइडिया, हम एक क्राफ्ट बना लेते हैं, हम एक टॉय बना लेते हैं, हमारे पास पानी की टंकी की हॉर्न, मतलब ढेर सारे ऐसे आइडियाज़ हैं और हमने बच्चों को फंड किया। 60 करोड़ रुपए दिल्ली सरकार ने दिया। मैं सिर्फ ये इसलिए आपको उदाहरण बता रहा हूँ कि आज जितने भी हम स्टेज पे बैठे लोग हैं, सभी अलग अलग तरीके जो भी हम करते हैं कि अपने देश को बढ़ाने के लिए, अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए, अगर अच्छी सरकारें हों, अच्छी नीयत और काबिलियत वाली हों, आज के दौर के हिसाब से चलना चाहती हों और उनका पर्पस क्लियर हो, तो उसका रिजल्ट तुरंत आपको देखने को मिलता है।
Thank you so much. And just hold on. My another question also I want to go to you. We all know that there are successes, but what about failures? And what's your thought on failures could be a learning opportunity as well? Do you have any personal experience in that?
हमारे पर्सनल भी हैं, लेकिन मैं थोड़ा इसको लार्जर स्केल पे बताऊंगा क्योंकि मुझे लगता है मेरा पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस बहुत ज़्यादा मायने नहीं रखेगा। नॉर्मली जब हम अपने प्रोफेसर्स हैं उनके पास जाते हैं जो पॉलिटिकल साइंस और इन सब चीज़ों की नॉलेज रखते हैं, तो वो कहते हैं कि पॉलिटिक्स में नेता सॉरी नहीं बोलते हैं, गलती नहीं मानते हैं, वो गलती कर देते हैं, बहुत ही एक्सट्रीम हो जाता है। लेकिन मुझे कुछ चेंजेस दिखे जो मैं आपसे कहता हूँ कि ये देश का सबसे तेज़ी से बढ़ने वाला पॉलिटिकल स्टार्टअप है आम आदमी पार्टी। तो जब 49 डेज़ की गवर्नमेंट बनी, थोड़े दिन में हमारी सरकार नहीं रही, तो हम पब्लिक के पास गए और हमने बताया कि देखिए 49 डेज़ में हमने गवर्नमेंट तो अच्छी चलाई, आपके लिए काम किया, आप लोग हमारी सरकार, हमने इस्तीफा दे दिया, हमारे लीडर अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने, लोग नाराज़ थे। हमने कहा कोई बात नहीं, हमने 49 डेज़ में भी अच्छा काम किया, अगर सरकार हम नई सरकार बनाने का मौका दीजिए, हम फिर काम करेंगे। हमने माना कि हमने सरकार से इस्तीफा दिया है, नए बार दीजिए। लोगों ने फिर से भरोसा किया। एक ट्रस्ट, जब आप ईमानदारी से कोई काम करते हो, लोगों में जाते हो, लोगों को भरोसा देते हो, तो लोग फिर से आप पे भरोसा करते हैं। और लोगों ने जो पहले हमें मैंडेट दिया था उससे बहुत बड़ा मैंडेट दिया और फिर से इंडिया के पॉलिटिक्स का हमने कहा कि वो एक नैरेटिव चेंज करने का काम किया हमने। तमाम पॉलिटिकल डिफरेंसेस के बावजूद भी आज देश की तमाम ऐसी सरकारें हैं जो कि लोगों की बेसिक एमिनिटीज़ की बात करती हैं, तो हमें खुशी होती है। हम किसी भी पार्टी में हो, किसी भी दल में हो, कोई भी थॉट रखते हो, लेकिन जब ये बात होती है दूसरे स्टेट्स में भी कि महिलाओं को चलने के लिए बस फ्री दीजिए, या वुमेन एम्पावरमेंट की बात करिए, या बच्चों को फ्री में पढ़ाने की बात करिए, या गरीब और अमीर के बीच का जो डिफरेंस है उसको ख़त्म करने की बात करिए, जब ये सब चीज़ें होती हैं तो हमें अच्छा लगता है।
Thank you so much. Amitabh, I'm really curious to hear your thoughts as well on this, because having a vision and leading a not-for-profit and as a very young person, I'm sure like across this journey you may have come across failure. So how did you turn it into an opportunity?
No, this is awesome. I think actually बचपन में मेरे पापा ने मुझे एक चीज़ सिखाई थी कि रात को सोने से पहले, और अब सालों से कर रहा हूँ मैं, राइट डाउन 10 थिंग्स दैट यू आर ग्रेटफुल फॉर, थैंकफुल फॉर. यू नो, बोलते थे कि सब लोग बोलते हैं बी पॉजिटिव, स्कूल में भी बोलते थे, बाहर भी बोलते थे, पर कैसे बनना वो नहीं सिखाते थे. तो ही सेट आउट, राइट डाउन के थैंक यू दैट आई हैव अ टेडी बेयर, थैंक यू कि मैं स्विच दबाता हूँ लाइट आती है, थैंक यू गर्म पानी आता है, थैंक यू आज मम्मी ने मुझे पिज्ज़ा दिया, वट एवर. ऐसी छोटी छोटी चीज़ें मैं लिख रहा था. ये तकरीबन मैंने 25 साल तक लिखा. मेरे पास है बुक्स भर के. तो माई ब्रेन वॉज वायर्ड टूवर्ड्स लुकिंग द गुड इन एवरी सिचुएशन. तो अभी कुछ भी इश्यू भी आता था तो मेरा फर्स्ट थॉट था इसमें भी कुछ अच्छा ही है. तो फ्लाइट डिले हो जाती थी 4 घंटे, इसमें भी कुछ अच्छा ही है. कहीं से फंड आने वाला था वो थोड़ा डिले हो गया, इसमें भी कुछ अच्छा ही है. तो पहला थॉट ही वो आता है, कोई बीमारी आ गई, इसमें भी कुछ अच्छा ही है. तो व्हेन द फर्स्ट थॉट कम्स दैट, तो आप सॉल्यूशंस इजीली निकाल देते हो और आप पे कुछ उतना स्ट्रेस या फेलियर मायना नहीं रखता, बिकॉज यू जस्ट फोकस्ड ऑन ब्रिंगिंग सॉल्यूशन. So thanks to my dad for that habit. You should do that for all the parents here. Thank you.
And we see you as a motivational coach and a speaker pretty soon. Moving on, I want to now shift the focus from trust, empowerment, and leadership towards more, issues such as being inclusive and diverse, and putting that into the purpose, leadership, and the business strategy. And for this, I want to go to Aishwarya, Deepika, and Arjun, just to hear how you are, bringing this element into your leadership strategy.
Okay, so I guess this is a very important topic for any organization, or even if in any groups in personal we sit in. Inclusivity and diversity is something that creates a lot of togetherness in the company when it comes to awareness, ethical responsibility that we get by being with each other and understanding what is there. And also there's a lot of innovation into the place. And when that happens, growth doesn't look challenging to you into the organization. And I guess this plays a very, very crucial role, and everybody should be given equal opportunities. Should be either it's from women, men, LGBTQ, and we as a brand are for women LGBTQ, but when it comes to being inclusive, it means that you are given with all the opportunities that are for women, men, and also for people who are already trying to come out. Probably they don't know who they are yet. Respecting them, understanding them is also one way to bring it in the organization, and also take care of how can one feel at times when it comes to emotional security, and also the growth aspect of the LGBTQ. I'll be focusing on that because men, women, we know, we are aware people over here. But when it comes to LGBTQ, yes, they are coming out of the closet, and we as aware people should be taking care of them as well and bring them in a group and feel like, okay, boss, we are together. Yeah? And that it should be like.
Thank you.
So I'll share 2 stories of my personal interaction about this subject. I had gone to give a talk once, and this was in Chennai for one of the organizations. And the co-panelist in this talk was the CEO of a leading Indian traditional sari brand. And she must be my mom's age, or even maybe a year more aged than her. And what I noticed was, as we were sitting on the dais and we were individually going to speak, she asked me, can you take snaps of me? And what was running in my mind at that point of time was that she must have given umpteen number of talks, right? And thousands of talks she must have taken and spoken about. And what more adulation of fame is she thirsty for? That she needs this, picture taken of hers. And is there an end to that thirst? Or is it endless? So I understand, that adulation, that little seconds or minutes of fame which is, given to you once you're on stage. Yes, let's concede people are hungry for it. But the second story is this. that is it. No, I won't comment.
We just love taking pictures.
No, I'll let that pass. And the second story I want to share was that there was another incident where there was a college interaction. And at this point of time, I was invited. And I let one of my employees go and give that talk. And what would have been expected was that perhaps I would have, urged for that opportunity. And I'll tell you why I did that. I did it very selfishly. Why I did that was that I wanted to create a second tier of leadership. I wanted to tell my people that you guys are as important in the growth story of NABET, and you all have also contributed to the same extent that I have. Maybe I'm the face, but I go with the confidence because I know that I have done the work thanks to you all who have backed me on this. And so you deserve the same level of, fame or whatever comes with it, and you have done no less than what I have done. So when I got the call from the organizer that we expected you, and I told them that, Kavit would be representing me, he said, wouldn't you want this opportunity? And I responded, I'm telling you with a lot of confidence, he will do a better job than me, right? And he did that. And what happens because of that is once he comes back to office and tells with pride that, I have been given this opportunity, it sets the narrative inside the organization that, if you can perform and you can imbibe the values, you would also be given that opportunity. And there is no, price tag which can be, put to it that this is the cost for it. Eventually, money is important. I absolutely concede. And let's be honest, it is one of the biggest motivators. But beyond a point, self-respect, pride is equally a very big promoter too. And if you can empower your team, you'll see the results because the intent and the passion which they come with would get quadrupled post that. So that's my take on inclusivity and leadership.
Pinky, first of all, I don't have such a big team that I would talk about inclusivity and diversity from a personal experience. But what I can share from my journey is I deal with men who are socially ostracized because they are falsely accused and people believe that they are guilty before even their guilt is proven. I have taken a lot of these young men to organizations, got them hired, got them given a job when they were thrown out of their job on mere allegations. Some of the people who got these people placed have come back to me telling me that they are exceptional performers and they are very thankful to me that they did not judge them just only because they were accused of something. There's a young man who was almost paralyzed completely. I raised crowdfund for him and he had to eventually pay alimony even though that person could not even move and was on a wheelchair. But we crowdfunded money for him and we got him out of the cases. That person does the most beautiful counseling for me as of now when people come to me asking for help. So all that I have to say about this is a person who is sort of set aside from the society and for various biases that we have कि ऐसा है तो ये नहीं कर पाएगा, ऐसी है तो ये नहीं कर पाएगी. When you give them a responsibility and a challenge and impose your trust and faith in them, they are the most brilliant performers. So when it comes to inclusivity and diversity, I personally feel give opportunity to people who are usually not thought of performing well, and you would see how brilliant they would put themselves into the job.
Thank you so much. I think your story was really courageous, and these are the signs of a secure leadership. So great. I mean, as in communication is always two-way, and I think as leaders, feedback is also two-way, right? It's extremely critical. So how do you take feedback as a leader, and how do you also give feedback, and do you value feedback as a culture? And this question I want to pose to Sarvesh, Arjun, and Aishwarya.
It's working, yes. I guess I'm the first person who take the feedbacks from the people. I am, in this case, obviously, when it comes to you want to lead with purpose, right? I guess the most important aspect is to take feedback from your people for yourself and introspect every then and now if you are doing it right. When it comes to giving feedback, obviously it should be very much in a understanding of the problems and the solutions given to them in their way, and it should not be forced to anyone. I guess this is where feedback takes place, where you are figuring out the problems together. It should never be like, okay, आज ये नहीं हुआ तो चिल्लाना शुरू कर दे. There are like leaders like that.
Toxic leadership.
Exactly. So when it comes to new age like leadership, I guess it should look like more like a friendship and not blaming each other in any like situation. I guess that's the case.
What I believe is no jargons, no niceties, no politeness. If I have messed up, be on my face and speak it in as many words. Because if you have messed up, I would do the same. Right? So if you can have that culture where there's no fear of the leadership, right? And if you can set that thing, it's a very critical thing, but if you can set that thing in place, it will ensure that everyone, A, feels that he has a voice or she has a voice. And second, I can tell you with confidence, it will contribute in the larger goal in a very, way better way than, having a culture where nobody is allowed to speak to you, nobody is allowed to call out your problems or the issues where you have wronged. So that's what I believe.
एक चीज़ है मैं आज के टाइम पे फीडबैक मैकेनिज्म पे काफ़ी चीज़ें हैं जो कहना भी चाहता हूँ जो गवर्नमेंट्स को नहीं करनी चाहिए. अगर गवर्नमेंट दिन रात लोगों को छोटी छोटी चीज़ों के लिए लाइन में खड़ा रखती हैं तो मैं पूछना भी चाहता हूँ कि 70 ईयर्स हो गए वो कभी पूछने चाहते हैं कि भाई लाइन में आप लगना क्यों चाहते हो. अगर आप बैंक की लाइन में, मैं कह रहा हूँ सरकारों के पास इतनी सुविधाएं हैं, आप लोगों के घर बैठे बैठे काम करा दीजिए. आज गांव में इतनी बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज की बड़ी बड़ी चीज़ों की डिलीवरी पहुंच चुकी है. लोग परेशान हो जाते हैं अगर किसी को एक सर्टिफिकेट बनाना हो तो 10 दिन तक सरकारी दफ्तरों के लाइन में खड़े रहते हैं. हम एक सर्विस लेके आए दिल्ली में, डोर स्टेप डिलीवरी. 50 रुपये में आप घर बैठे बैठे अपने 150 तरीके के सर्टिफिकेट्स बनवा सकते हैं. तो मैं आज की गवर्नमेंट को कहता हूँ कि आप लोग एक फीडबैक मैकेनिज्म अपनाइए, अच्छी पॉलिसीज़ लेके आइए. ढेर सारे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं, यंग ब्रेन्स हैं जिनके पास बहुत अच्छे अच्छे आइडियाज़ हैं. वो ट्रांसपेरेंसी के साथ, करप्शन फ्री सिस्टम के साथ लोगों को सुविधाएं दे सकते हैं. क्योंकि जब हम लोग एक बेसिक एमिनिटीज़ जो हैं, लोगों के समय बचाएंगे, लोगों के पैसे बचाएंगे, तो वो लोग इस देश की तरक्की के लिए काम करेंगे. तो इस डेमोक्रेसी के लिए, हमारे एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के लिए गवर्नमेंट को बहुत ज़रूरी है एक अच्छा फीडबैक मैकेनिज्म बनाना, एक फंक्शनिंग का एक अच्छा सिस्टम बनाना.
Thank you so much. I'll now quickly move on to the next set of questions. This is to Amitabh, Smita, and Deepika. How do you measure the impact of your initiatives, and are there any specific metrics, etc.? So basically, what I want to know is that how do you arrive that your organization has met with the success that you had outlined? So any thoughts on that?
It's an excellent question. And now there's a policy as well that if any company gives you more than 1 crore, compulsory impact analysis karana hi padta hai. So, Narayan Murthy used to say that in God I trust, for everything else I need data. And I'm a big believer of that. That data is needed for every single thing you're doing. Before even we start the project on ground, with every company we work with, and we implement CSR for about 100 companies, from Bank of America to HDFC to Nomura Bank to Quant Ferry, all these guys, Ernst & Young, they design के impact इसकी क्या होगी. We have to sign off on it. कि bare minimum इतनी impact आप लाओगे. And another thing that we are doing is that खुद की तारीफ करना तो बहुत easy है कि हाँ हमने बहुत अच्छा काम किया, हम महान हैं, ये हो गया, वो हो गया. So we always engage a third party auditor. And in these 5,000 schools across 25 states where we have worked in, London School of Economics did an impact study where we have done the solar, the water harvesting, the bathrooms, the teachers training, the smart classrooms, and they found a 4 times improvement in maths and science and a 15% improvement in attendance. And just a couple of weeks ago, KPMG released a digital classroom impact study of the schools where Yuva Unstoppable has intervened in, and they found that 98% of the teachers and principals said that there's an improvement in outcomes, improvement in attendance, and improvement in teaching efficiencies. So it is always good to get this impact analysis done from third party, and no matter who you go to now, they're all going to ask you, especially from a CSR, a grant making perspective, कि इसका impact क्या है और ये किसने किया है.
Thank you.
I run a for-profit structure and a not-for-profit structure. So for the not-for-profit structure, we do training and development. So obviously, impact assessment is like how many trainings did we conduct, and what is the achievement at the end of the year? What is the number of different trades that skill training did we do? What are the different partnerships that we did? For the for-profit, of course, it's like I always say, it's what is your turnover this quarter, how much money did we make, and everything else. Couple of things. One is in the last 1.5 years, we could tie up with National University Singapore, International Society for Fetal Diagnosis. They all reach out to People Tree Foundation and IMSOC Foundation, which is I'm founder of those two organizations, and for their corporate gifts, for their for the conferences that they do, they want a partnership. They want to show our film on their screen and everything. ISPD and many other international organizations. That is, I think, an impact. That means we have done well. They're reaching out. Our books of accounts are very clear and very transparent. And I was just mentioning that I feel very proud to say this, that the school is just 1.5 years old, and in that 1.5 years, apart from many things that we teach our children, taekwondo is one of them, and children are participating so wholeheartedly. In the last 1.5 year only, all we just did is providing equal opportunity, nothing else. They went to state level, they won gold, silver, bronze. They went to national, they were pushed to go to national level. They went to national level, they got gold, silver, bronze. And very recently they went to South Asian, where 11 countries participated. My bachas, they got gold and bronze. So I think that is the impact assessment. Yeah, that is the impact assessment. That is the non-financial motivation. A lot of people may have the impression she's very money-minded. It's also the other kind of motivation that we have. One is financial, one is non-financial. So one is khali without the other. One is not complete without the other. Thank you.
Thanks. Deepika, would you like to come in?
Pinky, my impact analysis of my work would be very, very simple, not too big. From 2012 when I started to 2023, from times when there was no film, no visual representation of the issues that I fight for, were there, to now I have made two full-fledged documentaries that are being seen across the world, which are telling people that when we talk about gender-based violence, when we talk about gender discrimination, we should at least try to talk from both the sides, because there is problem from both the sides. Apart from that, my impact analysis is very, very daily basis. When I am able to save a person who comes to me saying he's on the verge of suicide, to the point where he decides to fight back and fight for himself and his family, that's an impact analysis for me. When I have cases where people who were falsely accused have been able to take guidance and then implement them there in the cases and get reliefs from the court, that is a success for me. When people who thought that this is the end of life, to a point where they actually become fighters, and not just for themselves, try to help other people who are in the similar situations, that's a success analysis for me. So mine is a very, very day-to-day basis analysis. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have received the cue that the time's up, but I want to request the organizers if we could throw 1 or 2 questions from the audience to our panelists. May I ask the organizer if that's okay? If Devika, is that okay, Devika? All right. Thanks, Devika. May I please request that you keep your question direct and to the speaker that you want it to be addressed. The mic.
Smita and Amitabh, both of you shared that there's been a very good scale up over the last few years. If you could just share with the audience 2 or 3 of those points where you in your journey have realized those were essential for the kind of scale up that you both were able to achieve, that would be good for all of us.
Sir, may we know your name, please?
Yeah, I'm Yogesh from Society of International Development.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question, sir. Sir, first thing is that the whole idea of starting the business, the social business, was, to make a difference to the society and make it sustainable. That was the first point. Now, when we started seeing money coming into the organization, now are we utilizing the entire money well? Are we able to channelize the money, back to the society beautifully? I think that happened over the last few years. Of course, COVID, took away. But the amazing work also we've done during COVID. We've raised, we tied up with Dunzo and We Fast, and we were able to reach out because our bachas are already into the reading habit now. I don't know. This is a little off the top topic, but just can't resist myself from saying this. We started reaching out books inside the slums for children through Dunzo and We Fast. Finally, Dunzo and We Fast said, we are not charging you anymore, because it is such a noble cause. So because children started, children had no books also to read, nothing to do, and children who are hooked to books, they will not get hooked to any other things, you know what I mean. So we continue to, provide them books and everything else, apart from tons of other work that we have done. So I think we see that the journey, we have progressed beautifully. We have progressed from giant leaps, actually, from starting from 5 women only who I started working with. And today we have 52 women across 6 different slums. They are highly skilled. I mean, progress has happened. These jackets are made by my women, and they are very fashionable, very in today. But just to let you know that, I wear it with a lot of pride. And so this is progress. Just to stitch a kurta or something, it's pretty easy. Anybody can be trained. But to such difficult designs. So this is how we have progressed very slowly and gradually. Children, when we started the school, there were only about 20 children, and today we have 60 children. One room only. If you come to the school, you will know it's in Asia, not too far away from here. It's just one room, and then we have 60 children. Sometimes the children have to sit outside also, just to attend the class. But this is how I can tell you we're growing. MCD has proposed, our organization, saying that we want to give you 100 more spaces. Please take them, and this is growth. I think this is how we have grown in Lipson. They want us to take over 100 more places where we can run more, more schools like this or more other training institutes. So that's, I think, for me is measurable growth.
Thank you. I love the diversity of answers here. I'm going to keep it very brief and answer that, I feel कि लक्ष्मी माता के आशीर्वाद नहीं है, मुझको उन्होंने अपनी गोदी में बिठा दिया है. क्योंकि what I've realized now is कि अच्छे काम के लिए पैसों की कमी नहीं है ये देश में. I've realized it. There's huge amount of CSR philanthropy happening from all over the place. अच्छा, meaningful, impactful, on ground काम करके दिखाए, वो ज़्यादा लोगों की हमारे देश में अभी ज़रूरत है. So just 2 simple things. One person told me 3 years ago, which really transformed the way our funding was coming in almost 10x. And that was, he said, कि whoever is doing CSR with you right now, number one, ask for a lot more from the same partner, because he's done the due diligence. He knows the impact you are creating. He knows you, your team. So ask for a lot more from that person, number one. At least 3 times a year, they should meet the beneficiaries. It can be a Zoom call where they're talking to the Safai Karamchari in the school who's saying, toilet itna acha ban gaya, pehle humko ye dikkat hoti, ab hum saaf easily kar rahe hain. It could be a parent saying, ab meri beti school apne aap ja rahi hai. It could be a girl saying, ke, I'm working in Goldman Sachs because of the scholarship I got from you. Whatever it is, thrice a year at least, online or offline, the leadership team should be engaged. And not just CSR person, you should have at least 3-4 people in the company who are connected with you, who are champions for your NGO. Number one. And the second thing he said was, ask them to introduce you to one more person, one more company. Not too many, but one more company. Essentially, they'll end up doing 2 or 3, वो call करके बोलेंगे, अरे ये संस्था इतना अच्छा काम करती है, मैं स्कूल में गया हूँ, आप जाइए, check out कीजिए, बहुत अच्छा लगेगा आपको भी. And because they are good friends, and they have to give away CSR, 50% काम वहीं हो जाता है. Who makes the introduction makes a difference as well. So there's no more cold calling needed anymore. So these 2 things, go deeper and ask them to introduce you to one more person, has really worked beautifully. And I would request that if you've got someone on board, continue to kind of build the relationship year after year with them. At least 80% of your current partners should stay. right? Lot of people are every year नए partners आते हो, पुराने वाले चले जाते हैं. That's a lot of churning. At least 80% should stay. The 20 who leave, you should learn from it and improve that and go deeper in the 80. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amitabh, for the practical tips and also for sharing your story. Before I conclude, one last thought. Anybody, would you like to, share any thought, insight? Yes, please.
इम्पैक्ट एनालिसिस पे मैं एक बात कहूँगा. मुझे लगता है कि किसी भी गवर्नमेंट को आज के टाइम पे ढेर सारी ऐसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं जो सोशल ऑडिट कर रही हैं, इम्पैक्ट एनालिसिस निकाल के गवर्नमेंट दे रही है. पिछले कई सालों से दिल्ली सरकार इम्पैक्ट एनालिसिस पे एक सोशल ऑडिट कराती है, जिसकी रिपोर्ट विधानसभा में दी जाती है. जैसे जो भी बजट हम एलोकेट करते हैं नेक्स्ट ईयर के लिए, वो बजट कितने पॉलिसीज़ पे काम किया, कितने हमने जो वादे किए वो पूरे हुए कि नहीं हुए. जब नेक्स्ट बजट आता है तो हम विधानसभा के अंदर एक सोशल ऑडिट रिपोर्ट देते हैं कि उन पॉलिसीज़ ने कितना काम किया, कितने बेनिफिशरीज़ हैं, कितना बजट एलोकेट किया और उसका कितना एक्सपेंडिचर हुआ. और बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है, सभी लोगों को देखना चाहिए, दूसरे स्टेट्स में भी उसको लाना चाहिए. अभी उसी का एक एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ. हमने दिल्ली में फ्री बस दी. कई लोग के इस पे हाँ कई मत हो सकते हैं, ओपिनियंस हो सकते हैं, देना चाहिए नहीं देना चाहिए. हमने उसका इम्पैक्ट एनालिसिस कराया कि आखिर में इसका फ़ायदा क्या है. उससे इम्पैक्ट एनालिसिस निकल के आया कि कई काम करने वाली जो औरतें थीं, जो पहले दूर नहीं जाती थीं कि पैसा लगेगा ज़्यादा नहीं बचेगा, वो जाने लगी. लड़कियां जो कोचिंग जिनका दूर था वो अपने कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूट्स और इनको जाने देने लगी. कई बाज़ारों में जब महिलाएं पहुंची तो बाज़ार में लोग जो मार्केट है, मार्केट रेवेन्यू बढ़ने लगा. तो इस तरीके से सरकार ने देखा कि हम लड़कों को भी बढ़ाते थे तो सामान्यतः माना भी जाता है. तो सरकार, हमारे लीडर का भी मानना है कि जब कोई एक लड़का बढ़ता है तो सिर्फ एक लड़का बढ़ता है, पर जब कोई लड़की या महिला बढ़ती है तो पूरा समाज बढ़ रहा होता है. तो वो उस पॉलिसी का हमने एनालिसिस कराया और उसके इम्पैक्ट से हमने देखा कि नहीं, इस पॉलिसी के ढेर सारे बेनिफिट्स हैं और कोई भी रेवेन्यू लॉस नहीं और आगे भी कंटिन्यू होगा, जिसका दूसरी तरफ दूसरी सरकारों में देखने को भी मिल रहा है. तो मैं आप सबसे भी, ये दूसरी गवर्नमेंट से भी ये कहूँगा कि जब भी इम्पैक्ट एनालिसिस के सिस्टम को ढेर सारे अच्छे लोग, यंग एंटरप्रेन्योर्स बहुत अच्छे अच्छे टेक्निक से कर रहे हैं, उनको गवर्नमेंट में इसको ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लागू होना चाहिए. और हम सभी को चेक भी करना चाहिए कि जिन पॉलिसीज को गवर्नमेंट ने अनाउंस किया है उसका कितना प्रॉफिट हमें हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा है. थैंक यू.
Thank you so much. And with this, I would like to conclude our panel discussion. I think you'll all agree that we heard some great practical tips. We also understood that it takes a certain amount of courage to be a leader, a purposeful driven leader. And there's no, I think, limit to chasing one's dreams is what we also learned. And break the norms. I think that's the new mantra, whether it's the norms to, defy some traditional roles, some traditional way of doing business. So yeah, shake up. Our country is on a roll, and so are our panelists and everybody here. Thank you so much for a great evening. Thank you.